So the Aliyah Boston and Brittney Griner situation has reached a kind of a level that I never thought we would see it. It has reached one of these weird levels where I'm like, oh God, this is one of those things where it's not a good look for Brittney Griner. It's not a good look for the WNBA because let's be completely real. These players are chronically online.
Watch that body language. Watch how he says chronically online with that particular tone. Because what we're about to unpack isn't just another player beef. This is about Brittney Griner, a 9-year veteran with multiple Olympic gold medals, searching her own name on social media and firing back at random accounts. And the target of her frustration? Aliyah Boston, the rookie who's gotten so far into the heads of opposing centers that they can't help themselves.
Somebody posts on, again, I didn't even think I don't have Threads. I don't even know what it is. I made a blue sky because someone told me to make a blue sky and then never posted on it. But someone says Brittney Griner is a dirty player who's jealous of Aliyah Boston. There's no way Brittney Griner is jealous of Aliyah Boston. Like, let's be real. Brittney Griner and Aliyah Boston get into it every single time the Fever play the Phoenix Mercury.
Here's the actual post that set this off. Someone on Threads writes, Brittney Griner's a dirty player who's jealous of Aliyah Boston. Standard internet noise, right? The kind of thing every professional athlete sees 1,000 times a day. But Brittney didn't scroll past it. She responded directly, why would I be jealous of someone when I played against legends and GOATs? She ain't got shit I want or ever wanted. That's not a casual clap back, that's personal. And it reveals something much bigger about what's happening between elite centers in this league.
She is hitting people with legal elbows. You are allowed to have the ball and move. And like, you are allowed to turn. As long as you don't swing that elbow, you're allowed to turn. But if you turn with speed, it's the same difference as swinging your elbow. She is legally hitting people with elbows. I'm going to be honest here. She's literally legally hitting people with elbows, and Brittney Griner was pissed at it. They got their arms crossed, and then it is one of those things where they had their arms crossed in pre-possession. Brittney Griner was pissed at it, so she said, screw this, I'm going to claw her face.
Now, let's establish the facts here, because the actual basketball matters. Every single time Indiana played Phoenix this season, these two got into it. And it wasn't random chippy play. It was specific. Aliyah Boston operates in the post with these perfectly legal, but absolutely punishing elbow movements. She's not swinging. She's turning with the ball, using her body exactly how the rules allow. But when you're on the receiving end of a 6'3" forward spinning into you at full speed, those elbows land hard. Brittney Griner got hit with this repeatedly. Arms crossed, visible frustration building. And then in one game, she snapped, reached out, clawed at Aliyah's face. Flagrant foul. Should have been ejected, honestly.
People get heated with players and get them do something that should get themselves chucked from a game, commit flagrant fouls. It is what it is. Nothing more, nothing less. But you can see here, why would I be jealous of someone when I've played against legends and GOATs? She ain't got shit I want or ever want. What? What? There's no way. There's actually no way. WNBA players feeling the urge to search their names. I'm fully convinced of that. I am fully convinced.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Look at what he says next. Brittney Griner has played against legends and GOATs. She's absolutely right about that. 9 years in the league, 4 Olympic gold medals, played against every dominant center of the last decade. So why is Aliyah Boston the one who's gotten this deep under her skin? Because it's not about legacy. It's not about accomplishments. It's about something way more immediate and way more threatening to a veteran's career. Aliyah Boston has exposed a fundamental weakness in Brittney Griner's game, and that exposure has cost her real money.
So basically, she's saying, fuck Aliyah. This isn't even, she's basically, people are like, oh, what will compel her to respond to a troll? She's like, why would I be jealous? She's responding to a troll and somebody hyping her up. She's basically just saying, fuck you, Aliyah Boston. Why? Why?
Watch this breakdown carefully. The Phoenix Mercury had to bench Brittney Griner for extended stretches against Indiana. Not because she was playing poorly in general. Specifically because the Caitlin Clark-Aliyah Boston pick and roll was destroying them whenever Brittney was on the floor. She couldn't switch on to Caitlin, she couldn't stay with Aliyah on the roll. The modern pace and space offense that Indiana runs made her defensive style completely unplayable. This wasn't just a bad matchup. This was a systematic dismantling, and it happened multiple times, including in the playoffs.
Maybe more rings. But like, mental. Absolutely mental. That being said, like, she is clearly just searching her name. Bigs in the league really hate AB. They absolutely do. They absolutely hate Aliyah Boston. And you know what? I fucking love it. I don't want, as a Fever fan, I don't want opponents to like my players. Like, I don't want.
Now think about the financial implications of what we just described. Brittney Griner was on a max contract. Because after this season, after these performances, after getting repeatedly exposed by younger, more mobile centers like Aliyah Boston, her next contract isn't going to be max money, not even close. He estimates she's lost over $1 million in future earnings over the last 3 years, as the league has evolved past her playing style. That's not speculation. That's the direct consequence of being rendered unplayable in crucial playoff matchups, and Aliyah Boston was the most visible, most dominant example of that evolution. So when Brittney says, "She ain't got shit I want," what she's really saying is, this player has fundamentally disrupted my career trajectory, and I'm furious about it.
We'll question how good Aliyah Boston is at basketball. If you are one of the 3 to 4 best bigs in the league, and you're not despised by the other bigs, there's something wrong. Because let's be real. People have too much, I'm not going to say too much respect for AJ, because there is a competitive respect. People literally, there are players that don't give their 100% matching up to AJ Wilson.
Here's what makes this dynamic so fascinating from a competitive standpoint. He says something crucial. Bigs in the league really hate AB. They absolutely do. And you know what? I fucking love it. I don't want opponents to like my players. Think about that perspective. As a Fever fan, he's celebrating the fact that veteran centers despise playing against Aliyah Boston, because that hatred means she's doing something right. She's dominant enough, physical enough, effective enough that she's gotten into their heads, and once you're in an opponent's head, you've already won half the battle. Compare that to how other elite players are treated. A'ja Wilson, arguably the best player in the league, has this buddy-buddy relationship with opponents. Friendly before games, respectful during competition, cordial after, but that friendliness can be weaponized. A'ja uses it to her advantage, staying mentally sharp while her opponents aren't fully locked in.
Fans would actually be Aces fans and they cheer for both teams and there's no hostile environment. We want the other teams. As a Fever fan, you want the other teams like bigs to hate your big. You want the other teams to hate your guts. You want the fans to get heated. You want these games to be hostile. Because at the end of the day, that's what you fucking want. This team's not soft. This team is by no means soft. Our coach, in fairness to Stephanie White, is not soft.
But Aliyah doesn't have that luxury. She doesn't have the A'ja Wilson whistle, where referees give her the benefit of the doubt on every call. She doesn't have the established reputation that gets opponents to ease up slightly. What she has instead is raw dominance that forces opponents to respond emotionally. And emotional opponents make mistakes. Look at what happened with Brittney in that Threads exchange. She didn't just respond to one comment. She kept going, "Aliyah baby, don't let Andy and Lisa and Lexi hype you up to punch me in the face. I don't think I would. Remember, you and Andy are not the same. You did right to go and sit down. I've played against legends and GOATs. It never got to this. So look closer at all the facts. And everything else. That's not a measured response from a veteran. That's someone who's been thinking about this, stewing over it, unable to let it go.
Was just going to pick and short roll and destroy her, whether it be passing or scores, rendering Brittney Griner unplayable. Brittney Griner was a max contract player until the playoffs. Aliyah Boston exposing Brittney Griner probably cost Brittney Griner, not even just Aliyah Boston, these faster modern bigs probably cost Brittney Griner over the last 3 years of her career, easily $1 million by exposing her playstyle, exposing her archetype. So yeah, there's no reason why she should like Aliyah Boston.
Now here's the part that should genuinely concern the WNBA. These players are chronically online. He says it multiple times because it's true, and it's a problem. Brittney Griner is reading every single thing written about her, and given the absolutely vile content that gets posted about her daily, the fact that she's still searching her name is genuinely shocking. Most people would have quit social media entirely for their own mental health, but she's still there, still looking, still responding. And that reveals something about the current generation of professional athletes that the league hasn't fully figured out how to manage. They can't help themselves. The feedback loop is too immediate, too addictive, too personal. So let's synthesize what's actually happening here, because this goes way beyond one veteran center being salty about a younger player. This is about the evolution of the WNBA and what happens when that evolution leaves certain players behind. Brittney Griner entered the league, and for years, her combination of height, length, and shot blocking ability made her one of the most dominant defensive forces in women's basketball. She could stand in the paint, protect the rim, and alter shots without having to move much laterally. That style worked perfectly in a slower-paced, more post-oriented league. But the WNBA has changed dramatically in the last 5 years. The three-point revolution that transformed the NBA has finally reached the women's game. Teams are spreading the floor, running pick and rolls at a faster pace, and hunting mismatches relentlessly. Centers who can't switch onto guards, who can't move laterally, who can't defend in space, have become liabilities. And Brittney Griner, despite all her accomplishments, has become that liability in specific matchups. Enter Aliyah Boston, drafted in 2023, Rookie of the Year, and be impactful. But more importantly, she represents the new prototype for WNBA centers. She's mobile, she can finish pick and rolls, she can switch defensively, she plays with pace, and when she posts up, she does it with a physicality that's completely legal but absolutely punishing. Those elbow turns aren't dirty. They're smart basketball, using her body within the rules to create space and punish defenders who get too close. The Phoenix Mercury coaching staff watched film. They saw what happened when Brittney tried to guard Aliyah in space. They saw how the Caitlin Clark-Aliyah Boston pick and roll carved up their defense, and they made a decision that must have been devastating for a max contract player. They benched her, not for a few minutes, for extended stretches of crucial games. That's the context that makes Brittney's social media response so revealing. When she says, "She ain't got shit I want or ever wanted," she's technically correct about the accolades. Brittney has more Olympic gold medals, more all-star appearances, more years of dominance. But what Aliyah has that Brittney desperately needs: the ability to play effectively in the modern WNBA. The mobility, the versatility, the skill set that keeps you on the floor in playoff games instead of watching from the bench. And that's what makes this personal. It's not jealousy in the traditional sense. It's the frustration of watching your career trajectory change because the game evolved past your strengths. It's seeing a younger player excel in ways you physically cannot. It's knowing that every time you match up against her, there's a chance you'll get exposed again, and that exposure will cost you money, playing time, and respect. Now, should Brittney be responding to random accounts on threads? Absolutely not. It's undignified. It makes her look petty, and it gives ammunition to people who already criticize her unfairly for things that have nothing to do with basketball. But the fact that she can't help herself reveals just how much this bothers her. She's searching her name, she's reading the comment, she's seeing people say, she's washed, she's slow, she's been exposed by a rookie. And instead of ignoring it like every PR person would advise, she's firing back. The WNBA has a broader problem here with player mental health and social media management. These athletes are under microscopic scrutiny, dealing with criticism that's often sexist, racist, and homophobic, and they're expected to just ignore it. But they're human. They read the comments, they see the discourse, and sometimes, like Brittney, they snap and respond. From a competitive standpoint though, this is exactly what Indiana wants. If you're the Fever, you want opposing centers to be thinking about Aliyah Boston days after the game ends. You want them frustrated, emotional, searching social media for validation. Because an emotional opponent is a beatable opponent. The fact that Brittney is still this worked up about their matchups means Aliyah is living rent-free in her head. And that's a competitive advantage you can't quantify on a stat sheet. Think about what happens next time these teams play. Brittney will be hyper-aware of every interaction with Aliyah. She'll be thinking about the social media discourse. She'll be trying to prove she's not washed, not slow, not outdated, and that emotional baggage will affect her decision-making. Maybe she'll be too aggressive, trying to prove a point. Maybe she'll be too hesitant, worried about getting exposed again. Either way, she won't be playing her natural game. Meanwhile, Aliyah can just play basketball. She's not the one searching her name. She's not the one responding to trolls. She's just showing up, playing physical, executing the game plan, and letting the results speak for themselves. That's the mentality of someone who's confident in their abilities and secure in their role. The contrast between these two players also highlights something important about the current state of the WNBA. The league is in transition. Veterans who dominated for years are being challenged by a new generation that plays a different style of basketball. And that transition is uncomfortable for everyone involved. The veterans feel disrespected, like their accomplishments are being diminished. The younger players feel like they have to prove themselves against unfair skepticism. But here's the reality. Aliyah Boston didn't do anything wrong. She didn't call out Brittney publicly. She didn't talk trash on social media. She just played basketball at a high level and happened to expose some weaknesses in a veteran's game. That's not personal. That's competition. That's sport. And if Brittney can't handle that reality without searching her name and clapping back at random accounts, that's a her problem, not an Aliyah problem. So where does this leave us? Brittney Griner is still a talented player with an impressive resume, but she's at a crossroads in her career. She can either adapt her game to the modern pace and space style, or she can continue to be a situational player who gets benched in certain matchups. And if she chooses the latter, her earning potential will continue to decline. Aliyah Boston, meanwhile, is just getting started.
She's already one of the best young centers in the league, and she's only going to get better as she develops her offensive game and adds more versatility. The fact that veterans are already this frustrated with her physicality and effectiveness is a testament to how quickly she's established herself as a force. And for the WNBA as a whole, this session is a reminder that player media training needs to include social media management. These athletes are going to see the discourse. They're going to be tempted to respond. And the league needs to provide better resources for helping them navigate that reality without compromising their mental health or their professional reputation. Because at the end of the day, Brittney Griner responding to trolls on threads doesn't change what happened on the court. Aliyah Boston still dominated their matchups. The Mercury still had to bench Brittney. The tape doesn't lie. And no amount of social media clapbacks will change that reality. The only thing that changes it is adapting your game, staying off your phone, and proving it on the court next time you match up. So the question for you, if you're a veteran player getting exposed by the next generation, do you adapt or do you argue? Do you hit the gym or do you hit reply? Because one of those paths leads to an extended career, and the other leads to searching your name on threads at midnight, furious that people are noticing what the film already showed. Drop your take in the comments, and if you want more WNBA analysis that actually breaks down what's happening on and off the court, hit subscribe. This league is only getting more interesting.